The match that's here for PSG against Arsenal. PSG punching their ticket to this year's Champions League final, beating Arsenal 2-1 on the night, 3-1 on aggregate. But not to worry, Arsenal coach Mikel Arteta has taken it on the chin and said that his team were the best in the competition. He said, "I'm very proud of the players, 100%. I don't think there's been a better team than Arsenal in the competition from what I've seen, but we are out." This competition is about the boxes, and in both boxes are the strikers and the goalkeepers, and theirs were the best in both games. Craig's still with us here. It's a bit contradictory in itself, that quote, Craig, so I'm just interested to know what you thought of it.
Well, I saw that last night just before I got on the flight to come here, and I was like, this guy just can't help himself. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, they're out. They've not been the best team in this competition. They've played their best football in this competition, but their best football has not been great. That's why Stevie's Liverpool has won the league basically on one leg at the end. They have played some decent football in this competition, but they haven't been the best. They're not in the final. They got knocked out in the semi-final. Did they watch PSG take Liverpool apart over 2 games? Did they watch this magnificent semi-final with 13 goals in it, Inter Milan against Barcelona? He's like a character from The Office, isn't he? He just comes out with these ridiculous comments, a bit like the Amazon documentary he did when he had the light bulb and he said, "This light bulb doesn't work if it's not connected." No way. Who would have thought that? You could almost see the players sniggering in the background. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You made a good fist of it. You had some injuries. You missed some chances. Things could have gone differently, but PSG are a better side, and you're out. And I think 2 words that have been brandished about towards the end of this season, towards some of the Arsenal players and towards 1 or 2 others maybe outside Arsenal: stay humble. And Mikel Arteta certainly wasn't that in defeat.
Jan?
Well, as we Norwegians said, stay humble. I mean, that was done in Norway, that quote. It's interesting with Arteta, because you don't know. He's doing everything right, but that's all he do. That's all. There's something wrong there, because you can't say things like that, because sport, and we all know that, sport is brutal. There is no place to hide. There is no place to hide. There is none outside the Arsenal camp that will call up Arteta and say, "You're right. Well done. You were the best team. You're going home, but you are the best team." I mean, I think this is a term of frustration. I think this is that he sees an Arsenal team that has not developed. They have gone backwards this season. They're not closer to win the Premier League. When Manchester City had that gap year in their football history, Liverpool came on. Liverpool winning the league, Arsenal not there. They're doing the Guard of Honors on Sunday. That's the fact of Arsenal Football Club. This is a frustration. I see this as a statement of frustration. And maybe Arteta should take some more time then before he makes those statements. It was like, even worse, it was like, yeah, we were a better team, but they had a great goalkeeper. Well, yeah, it's allowed to have a great goalkeeper, but it's not allowed to not have a great striker.
Raya made, and unless my memory's gone, Raya made some incredible saves in the 2 games as well. He just talks too much. You know, at the end of the day, your team should do your talking for you on the field. And anybody who knows a little bit about football will see what you're doing with your team. And what he's doing isn't quite good enough. It's good. They've played well. They play some nice football. They got some good players. They got some stars. But you've got to win games. It's about winning games. And he's talking about the best. I actually did some digging. Can you believe it? And all the categories, whichever category you want to look at over the Champions League, neither Arsenal or any of his players individually are at the top of anything, any stat. None, 0. So, yeah, just let your team do the talking for you and just keep your mouth closed.
Yep, so the stats don't back it up. But let's hear what Luis Enrique had to say when it was put to him what Arteta had said. He said, "Mikel Arteta is a great friend, but I don't agree at all. They played in a clever way and they got the match to the right moment for them because they played in the way they wanted and the way they love. But in the 2 legs, we scored more than them, and that is the most important thing in football. It's hard to argue with that, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, he got the 2 wins in 2 games. You know, what else you can say? And according to Mikel Arteta, the two teams, Inter Milan and Paris Saint-Germain, shouldn't be in the final because their 2 MVPs were the 2 goalkeepers, Jan Sommer and Donnarumma. So it doesn't make any sense. My question is, who wants him? Who does he want to convince? Because he's not in danger, so he doesn't want to convince the board. The fans, they see what happened. The player, they know what happened. So I guess he only wants to convince himself that he did the best, and that's the only thing, because he cannot convince anybody else. We saw the games. Yes, Arsenal is a good team, but they missed their chances, and at the end of the year, they're not going to get anything. And they should have scored goals. And as Ian said, you know, we all said even before the season, Arsenal don't have a striker. They need a striker. They missed the chances. It's Mikel Arteta's fault. Pick a striker. Get a striker. It would have been a different season. So the failure came from him because of no choices.
Craig, last night the guys were critical of Martin Odegaard. Go on ahead.
No, I was going to... Yeah, well, I know I've talked about Martin Odegaard having to step up in recent weeks, and he is not. He is not, if we're being honest. But this is just becoming tiresome now. You know, at the end of the day, nobody's interested in what your XG is after a game. Nobody. Maybe 1 or 2 boffins want to roll it out, and I get that. It's a stat that can tell you somewhat of a story, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. And it's not that little... You know, that little thing at the top of the screen with the scoreline, which is the most important thing. So I'm absolutely fed up of this Arsenal side, who there's a lot to like about them, because they are a side that he's built into. To be fair to him, he's built a side that's missing a piece or two, that's challenging in the Champions League and has challenged and should be challenged in the Premier League. But I think everybody's getting fed up of the referees, the PGMOL, you know, the injuries, you know, everything's against us, the bookings early in the season. Why did Declan Rice get booked for that? And Joe Bloggs at Wolves didn't get booked for that. At the end of the day, he's going to be judged on trophies and on results, not on some stat that tells you how they created any amount of chances in the box. And Stevie's right. He should just come out and say, you know what? I want to keep this brief, lads. We gave it our best shot. We actually made a good fist of it, created a lot of chances. It wasn't our night, and we need to address that and move on. Congratulations, PSG. It was graceless, it was classless, and quite frankly, he's going to have to learn from it, because if we're in this situation next year and the following year where the trophy cabinet is still empty and they're spending 100 million on the Declan Rices and on 100 million on a striker, whoever it may be, then Mikel Arteta, for all this good work that he's done, will not be in that job, and he can spout out any XG he wants when he leaves. It's not going to save him in the hot seat, so he's going to have to figure that out. And those comments he made are just been stitched together with a bunch of other stuff they've said this season, and Liverpool must have been laughing their socks off, because they rolled their sleeves up in the first 6 months of the season and they did the hard work, they did the dirty work, they did the hard yards, and Arsenal couldn't cope. And that was the big problem for them. They were chasing their tail since that time. And let's not forget as well, they got knocked out of all the domestic cup competitions. Manchester United, who are ironically in the Europa League final you were talking about, Manchester United, who were having, at that point, I think, the worst time of their season under Amorim, knocked him out at the Emirates. Go look at yourself in the mirror and say, why were we not in the FA Cup final? Why were we not in the Carabao Cup final? Why were we X amount of points off Liverpool in the league? When Arsenal start looking in and Mikel Arteta starts looking in, maybe they'll have a bit more success at the end of the season next year.
Yeah, and obviously time will tell. But just to stick on Martin Odegaard with you, if I can, Jan, what the guys were saying last night is that maybe he kept it too simple and didn't take enough risks. Do you think that would be a fair criticism of his game last night?
I think it is, Kay. And I followed Martin's career since he was 15. And when Martin has those spells, he's starting playing too easy, backwards, sideways. And you can see that. It's not the greatest confidence is in there now. Remember, he was on his top. He was in goal involvement, sensational. And you can see now that he is also mirroring the insecurity in the whole Arsenal team right now. Sometimes he's been the guy who got him out of that spell, but he's not at the moment as a captain. And you have to live with that. He's the captain of Arsenal Football Club. He has built up his own expectation by all the goal involvements. And next to him is a Declan Rice, who has done well. It will be compared with him and all those kind of things. And so Martin got to raise his game. And he has to do that because we're playing Italy 6th of June at home in Oslo. So he better be back at his best then.
How does Arteta get him back to his best? Or get him
Maybe,
to be more threatening?
Kay, 1 second. Kay.
Go
Hello.
ahead, Craig.
Maybe Jan, that's why Real Madrid let him go. Maybe he was a bit lightweight.
Yeah,
maybe we've seen the best in Martin Odegaard. Maybe Martin Odegaard can't do it at the real high level, and maybe that's why Real Madrid said, no, wait, you're not.
I think you're unfair there, Craig. I mean, he has a spell doing that now. He's been good for the last couple of seasons. I see that, and I see what you're saying. But he has had a fantastic period at Arsenal. Deservedly, the Arsenal captain, been doing being the leader. So I think that is unfair. But he has a bad spell now. I think we all can agree on that.
No, he's having a bad spell, but there's a big question whether he has what it takes in the real big games, like the superstar players have, like the ones at Real Madrid, Barca, and others, to really push them over the line. It's all very well looking like a flash Harry when you're playing Southampton and West Ham and Crystal Palace, but it's about doing it when you're supposed to be at his stature. It's about doing it in the real big moments. And that's where Arsenal have faltered. And I think, if we're being honest, at times that's where Martin Odegaard has faltered. So I get it. He's a pretty player. He's a good player. He's technically very good. But is he going to take Arsenal really to that next level? Is he going to take himself to that next level in the real big games? I think there's a big question there still.
Can Arteta be blamed for
a year ago, Arsenal Football Club was one Ortega save away from winning the Premier League, and Martin Odegaard was their leader. So I think that makes a bit simple analysis, but fair enough. He is the Arsenal captain. He has to live by those expectations. I see that, absolutely.
So can Arteta be blamed for his top
Well, it's
players
not.
performing?
1 second. It's not simple analysis. It's analysis. It's not simple analysis. It's analysis. Is he showing up in the real big moments? Yes or no? I don't care what he does for Norway. Right, well, what's he doing for Arsenal in the real big games? I don't think that's a simple analysis. It's an analysis of Martin Odegaard.
I'm not saying that I didn't talk about Norway, what he did for Norway. Just say last season they took Manchester City all the way, and he was very central for them at that time, and he always turned up also in the big games. That's what I'm saying.
And they didn't win. And they didn't go over the line, and that's the big question still. They did not go over the line.
There is one thing that would help Odegaard, playing with a proper centre-forward. You know, Martin Odegaard, to me, is trying to play balls in behind from the wide areas. You want Martin Odegaard in the middle of the field with options to go left, right, or to pick somebody out who's playing centre-forward. He's never had that. You know, even when Jesus came with the, I'm not a centre-forward. And then you get Havertz. Now you've got a midfielder, whether it's Trossard or anybody else, going through the middle. So Martin Odegaard, in that respect, is being put under severe pressure to come up with something with a player who's not really a centre forward, where he does his best damage. So that is unfair on Odegaard. At the same time, he does have to do better. He does have to do better, and Arteta will have to keep pumping him up, keep giving him confidence. But at the end of the day, Martin Odegaard is the one that's going to have to push himself forward and get his confidence back himself.